program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the middle of the African bush for your own privately guided live safari. This is Safari Live. Ready? Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve. I've got some absolutely grand news. My name is Brent Smith, and back on the vehicle is the second half of the Killer Bees, Brian Djuma and the Thumb. There we go. Welcome back, Brian.
Hey, thank you. Happy to be back.
And now the Killer Bees are in search of killer sightings here on Djuma Private Game Reserve. Ooh, vultures. And it looks like they might have found something. Could the incredible Hinkahumas have killed during the day? Let's go see where that vulture went down to ground. Remember, this is 100% live. You are experiencing the African wilderness in real time with the Killer Bees. And remember, you can also, I can nearly fall out of cars, but you can also ask us questions using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or the email address questions@WildEarthTV. Now, I wonder what that vulture has seen that caused it to plummet to earth so rapidly. Now, there are a few vultures' nests in this area, so I'm not getting too excited just yet. I'm going to have to see more vultures in the area to get more excited. Jamie. Jamie, what's your route? Okay, there is the vulture. Copy, thanks. So there is a white-backed vulture in a dead leadwood tree. Oh, what have we got in front of us, Brian? Where are my binoculars now? And there's another couple of birds of prey there. There we go. There. Oh, that is an interesting eagle. There's a batelier in front. And there's quite a bit of white in that eagle. I initially thought maybe a tawny. Let's have a look. A quick look next to us. I'm being an absolute nana. I'm staring around at birds in the sky, and there's a large. You know what's happened here, Brian? Let me just have it. I think an elephant's just given birth. I'm looking at the footprints. And there's no sign of a predator. Just have a quick look here. If something growls, then we know I was wrong. There's definitely a sign of a predator. So what I'm looking for now is any lion pug marks, leopard pug marks. This is a large piece of bloody stuff that has been covered up by elephants. I mean, there's no predator tracks here whatsoever. There's elephant tracks everywhere. Now, sometimes when elephants give birth, the herd will actually huddle around them. Now, I think what we're looking at here is not something you see every day. This is elephant afterbirth. Wow. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Let's have a look which way the elephants went. And maybe, whoopsie, we can go look for a tiny newborn baby elephant. I can hear them up ahead. It looks like the tracks have gone that way. But isn't that absolutely fascinating? And that's what's attracted these birds of prey. I'll come back to have a look, see if any of them come down to start feeding. And of course, we're not the only vehicle out here. Jamie's also out. She's heading to check up on Karula. And I'm going to go look for the Nkahumas. But first, let's see if we can find the latest addition to the Djuma elephant family. While we do that, let's go across to Jamie so she can bid you a fond hello.
Good afternoon, and what an intriguing start to the sunset safari. I really hope that Brent manages to find those elephants and you get a glimpse at an hour-old baby elephant. My name is Jamie. This afternoon I have Xongile on camera with me, fresh-faced after his walk with Steph this morning, and we are heading back to where I had Karula and her two gorgeous cubs this morning on the sunrise safari. Sorry, there was something in my shoe, but it's okay, I managed to dislodge it. I think it was a fruit chafer, or an insect. So, exciting times. It's running up my leg. Should I be concerned? Oh yes, there it is. Now it's in my shirt. Oh dear, now it's on my seat. Hold on. Try and get it. No, see. Oh, not a fruit chafer at all. Oh dear. Okay, well, it can start the whole process again from the bottom up, and when it reaches my sleeve again, we'll try that once more. I don't even know what it was so fast. Summer's here. I'm just trying to look where it is so I don't squidge it, but I actually think it managed to fall into the separated groove. Remember how I made a big hole in the bottom of Jigger that I never told anyone about? Steph in final control. Anyway, Opa fixed it for me. But those of you who've been watching over the last few days, where I somehow managed to make a hole in the bottom of the car, it has been repaired, and I think that the little gap that's left behind is where our insect friend disappeared to. Well, I'll let you know. If it starts the whole process again, I'll let you know. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, I do. Elephant placentas. I've actually found elephant sort of areas that they've just given birth in before. I don't know where Brent is exactly, but I do know there's lots of elephant tracks here. But I mean, there's lots of elephants around at the moment everywhere. So that could be entirely coincidental. I have found elephant placentas before, and one of the things to look for is the baby's meconium. I think that's how you say it. Meconium. The first defecation of a baby elephant when it comes out of the womb, and that's usually a few moments after birth, or a few hours after birth, but it's usually within the region of the placenta itself. Something totally different in texture to your average pile of elephant dung. Very gooey and very strange greyish green colour. Oh, that's really exciting. It's one of the things that we've often said we dream of seeing on these live safaris, is a live elephant birth. No, Brent started off that whole segment with vultures, and there are lots and lots of them about, and still more descending. So I assume they're coming to investigate what they were looking at with Brent. Or possibly just thermaling, using the rising hot air to look for other carcasses. The vultures of Djuma are kept happy and well fed by the Nkuhuma lionesses. It's the place to be for an up-and-coming young vulture. Hang out around Djuma and you're almost guaranteed to at least get a few nibbles on the buffalo carcass pretty much every day. The Nkuhumas have been positively unstoppable of late. And I have no doubt that last night was no different. Okay, I assume these have been attracted to the other vultures landing wherever Brent is. I assume he's not too far either. He can't be, because we only left a couple of minutes apart, so he must be somewhere just ahead of me in that general direction. So that must be that. So that's how vultures work. One of them spots something, the other, and starts to descend. Another vulture will see that descent and start to follow to investigate whatever the first vulture saw, and so on and so on. So you've got a knock-on effect. And for birds flying that high, they can see very far, and also very far into sort of the sky. So they can see those vultures descending from enormous distances. I'm now wondering if there's... Yeah. Okay, Brent is just ahead of me. Standing by.
Jimmy, there's a herd of Ellies around where the cougar sighting, so I'm just trying to follow up on the tracks of that possible baby Ellie.
Okay, copy. Do you mind if I still make my way into that area, or do you want me to rather move on?
No, make your way, no problem. I don't think this is the herd that goes there, so I'm going to bypass them. You should be hitting them at the river crossing there, in the tree, in the drainage line below the carcass. I haven't seen any other leopards yet.
Copy that, thank you. So that conversation was just the two of us planning where to go and which way to go. Oh wow, okay, so the carcass must have, the placenta must be over there. I'm just getting a lay of the land. Brent and I don't usually circle each other like this. He was planning, I think, on going towards the Nkuhumas. But this is very, very interesting. And yep, the vultures are definitely coming in. Amazing. Alright, speaking of Brent, obviously you heard our conversation there about them being close to the Karula kill. Let's head across and see how he's doing.
So I'm trying to search for that herd that possibly had that little newborn baby. Now, there's a big herd of elephants behind me, under where Karula is. Jamie's heading in there now. I think it's this elephant herd up here. I can't really see them, but there's quite a lot of corralling behavior. There's a spot where you can maybe get a little bit higher up ahead. I'm going to see if we can maybe see that tiny little elephant. You've got to be careful now, because they could still be a bit nervous. I'm just going to stop here. There were these thickets here, just behind Cheetah Pan. And I thought I saw some corralling behavior, which wouldn't be uncommon with a newborn Ellie. So Sharon says she saw a newborn Ellie about 4.5 hours ago on the Djuma Pan. It's possible, Sharon, but from what I could see, the track's headed to the south, and there's no need for that herd to go to the Djuma Pan when you've got Cheetah Pan right here. So they could just be, so you could just make out an elephant in the thicket there. So maybe they'll come out into the open on the other side. So we're going to do the same thing. Now I think we've popped out quite close to where placenta was. Let's see if any of the birds of prey have swooped down quickly. The thing is, there's been a lot of Ellies around where Karula was. They might have actually pushed her off. I didn't look too carefully. I was looking for a baby elephant. Not a bird of prey, but a glossy starling. And you're probably feeding on any insects that might be attracted. There's a couple of vultures about, and I think it's just a little bit too close to the road for them to come down while we're here. Where could the baby elephant be? Now, Andre in Germany is wondering, what does an elephant track look like? I'll try to find a clear one for you, Andre. But it's big and round like an elephant's foot. Now, as I mentioned, you got to be careful around elephants, especially when they've got newborns. Sometimes they can be quite aggressive, and James Dungan was wondering that. Now, I'm trying to see. I'll have to wait. Brian's going to get a surprise on his lens just now, and there's a moth. I'm waiting for it to crawl across the lens before I move it. So they can, yes, they can be aggressive. As I said, there's a corralling aspect that they get defensive around the newborn and the mother, and often when I've seen the elephants give birth, the rest of the herd will scream, so you actually can't really see much while the elephant gives birth, as it's protected by the rest of the herd. Okay, I'm going to keep checking for this tiny little baby for a little longer. Now, it could be right in one of these thickets here, and while we do that, Jamie's with some more elephants.
My suspicion is that Brent is absolutely correct and that the tiny baby will be hidden away with Mom in the dense vegetation. In the meantime, we have stopped at the elephant herd, the one with the third ear. We're missing about a third of her ear. Two-thirds of her ear. She's only, oh my goodness, she's throwing grass all over the show. Some of that nearly came and hit the car. She's having a wonderful time pulling up the various weeds and perennial plants around the base of the Mulwati drainage line or river system. My plan was always to come and check for Karula. Well, I think it's safe to say she's no longer here, given that this entire place is teeming with elephants everywhere we look. Hello, big girl. Hello. Hello. Instantly recognizable. We've seen her before, for our newer viewers, with that injury that's obviously lost her two-thirds of her ear. We have no idea what caused that. Little one. Absolutely not a clue what would have caused that. It might have been a scratch or an injury that got badly infected, because of course that skin of an elephant's ear is so thin. Brrr. What was that about? Funny little tantrum from one of the younger elephants. But yes, that skin is so thin that it could well have been infection, and a combination of infection and ticks that lost her ear. Look who's here. Brent and Brian. Right, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the tracks come in this direction. How did Brent end up there? How did he get past me? There are so many questions I have. How did he get all the way around? I know he's been doing loops, but how? How is what I'm most impressed about, because he must have found a way out of this drainage line. Anyway, he's been doing lots and lots of loops. We're just sitting waiting patiently. For those of you watching the sunrise safari, that large jackalberry tree with an elephant rumbling beneath it will be very, very familiar. That is, of course, where we last saw the Queen Karula. So as I said, our leopards will probably be gone somewhere. Hello?
Hello.
Which way are you going now? I think so too.
And it looks like old Fang.
Really?
Like you see that one female there's got that downward face.
Oh yes, she does.
Seen her in months. But I think you're in the right spot here. Any sign of the leopards?
No sign of the leopards, and I'm not getting out to look for their tracks right now.
No, it might not be a good idea. I'm going to carry on and go see where the informers were. They were on the jackalberry.
Okay, I'm just going to sit this one out and see if it pops out. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I've encountered elephants that have given birth, they hide.
That's why I think it's something
Yeah,
that's thick.
I think you're
And
right.
if you want to go look at the placenta, it's just on that corner past Cheetah.
I saw the vultures there. Cool. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Bye. Later.
Bye. Enjoy the lions. Oh yes, it is Fang. I haven't seen her in a very long time. Brent's absolutely right. It is indeed our backwards-facing elephant tusk friend. Oh, this is special. What a lovely reunion. Although that tusk, I'm going to have to wait for her to come out a little bit. Because there's a few elephants with backward-facing tusks. Now, I want to be no, it is her. She's got that notch there. Right at the tip. That's definitely her. So some kind of deformity, some kind of possibly even an injury to her tusk while it was still growing has resulted in a very odd placement of that particular tusk, hence the name Fang, because we like to keep our naming very original. The name Fang, which I actually feel truly suits her. And this, if it is Fang, this particular herd is massive, and it seems to be, I think that seems to be the case. There should be the one elephant with the third of an ear. There should also be 2 elephants with floppy ears, one of which with 2 floppy ears, somewhere in this herd, if my memory serves me. We've spent quite an inordinate amount of time with Fang. We've sat and watched her guard her little group whilst the babies napped before on Buffalo's cut line. We've actually had some truly extraordinary sightings with her. And one of the special things to sit and watch actually is the way that she's learnt or adapted to use that backwards facing tusk. Hopefully she's going to start coming out of the dense vegetation. It's probably not her that gave birth, because I think that young calf next to her belongs to her, so that would still be a little bit young. Hello. For her to be giving birth again. But as from what we've seen of Fang's herd dynamics, she is definitely very high ranking, if not the matriarch. I don't think she's the matriarch. I think there's one cow that's slightly larger than her. But on a day like today, with a fresh elephant birth, she's going to play an enormous role. Now, Eileen, you wanted to know, speaking of matriarchs, which of course this baby's got a long way before it gets there, Eileen would like to know, in an elephant herd, is the matriarch always the biggest and the oldest female? No, not really, no. It's generally one... Oh, sorry, Brent's very loud there. Generally, the matriarch will be one of the oldest females. Sometimes it will be an almost inherited thing, so a daughter will take over from her mother. But there will be a point at which the oldest elephant female in a herd will no longer be capable of leading the herd properly as the matriarch, because she's got to the point where she's just too old and she's a little bit weak, at which point she'll still be the oldest member of the herd, but one of the younger females will step in. So no, it's generally one of the largest and oldest females. A matriarch will only really step into the role in her 40s in a normal, 30s to 40s in a normal breeding herd structure, but that just depends. If something has happened to that herd and she's all alone, a 20-year-old elephant can take up that responsibility. I do know that Fang is one of the largest ones and that she does seem to be very central to this herd's life, often talking to them, rumbling to them, and there's been lots of communication happening here. I would not be at all surprised if this was the herd that the female gave birth in. And it's an amazing thing, an elephant birth, because the whole herd will surround the female as she gives birth, performing a protective circle and often reaching out and touching her with concerned sort of, not expressions, very concerned body language. Now, Diane, you would like to know if an elephant makes a lot of noise when she gives birth. Not to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I've seen a few videos of elephant birthing. The rest of the herd can be very, very jumpy, and as you know, jumpy elephants or nervous elephants are quite vocal. So the rest of the herd can be quite noisy, but generally the female doesn't make too much in the way of a noise. Lots and lots of low, comforting rumbles, though, that will come from the adult females, especially if it is a young female experiencing the whole process for the first time. It's truly extraordinary watching older elephants take on the sort of the gentling role of guiding the younger females through the whole process. Of course, one of the most famous videos that I'm sure some of you would love to watch is the situation where a young elephant cow gave birth too close to the Olifants River in the Kruger National Park, and her calf ran serious risk of actually being washed away. You must see if you can find that video and watch it, and watch the way that the larger adult females respond and actually help the female and her calf survive. It's a special thing, which is why I dream of seeing a live elephant birth. Actually, to be honest, I dream of seeing an elephant birth full stop. I think that would be a truly spectacular appearance. And yes, absolutely, Jennifer in St. Louis, you want to know whether or not the elephants are less welcoming to people viewing them or the little elephant calf when it's first been born. Yes, absolutely they are. And it's very, very important to give them their space, which is why I think you'll find Brent did exactly the same thing. He's driven around, but he's waited in the same way we are, just waited for the elephants to come to him, and I'm now waiting for the elephants to come to me. Yes, little boy, just like you. They are on edge. It's been a stressful day for all of them. The hormones, you imagine for an animal, because we don't realize how much of a role subconsciously our sense of smell when it comes to hormones plays a role. But imagine for an animal like an elephant with an incredibly sensitive sense of smell and hearing, highly, highly developed emotional capabilities, and giving birth when they know that a member of their herd is very vulnerable. Imagine how traumatizing the whole process is for the whole herd. Not traumatizing, and perhaps traumatizing is the wrong word. You can imagine that they all are a little bit on edge. This young bull doesn't seem too concerned, though. So one of the things I've been doing is keeping an eye on everybody's body language, from when we first pulled in to watching the elephants as they approach. I mean, Fang's going to come down this hill now, and as she does, she's going to stop and look at me. As she does, her body language is going to take on a completely different tone as she comes through. Hello, girl. And that's mainly because of gravity. She's coming down a steep slope, so it automatically looks more threatening when an elephant's coming towards you downhill. But I think maybe she's just going to stick around and play quite a protective role up there. I'm sure this female's with her new baby is somewhere here. This place is positively teeming with elephants. Now, Patricia, on the subject of the whole herd protecting that little elephant, you want to know if the herd will stay put. I wonder what she's after there. That's interesting. You wanted to know if the whole herd will stay put and protect until the calf is ready to move off? And the answer is yes, absolutely. She will, or they will. They'll stay until the calf is back on its feet and starts to wobble off. And they will comfort the mother, they will be around the mother, and just in general be very, very supportive of the whole situation. So yes, they will. That being said, if there is something wrong with the baby, if, let's say, the mother didn't get enough nutrients and the baby's very, very weak when it's born, if it's not going to survive, at some point the herd will leave it behind, and generally it takes new mothers a little bit longer to come to that realization that their baby is not going to survive, and they will stay with their baby until, well, for a few days in the most heartbreaking situation, at which point afterwards they've still, in their state of misery and mourning, got to go off and find the rest of their herd. Fortunately, that's something I've never ever had to witness. I think it must be heartbreaking to see. There's beautiful Fang, giving us a demonstration, kind of, mind you, a shy demonstration of the way that she uses her backwards facing tusk. Interestingly enough, it seems like it's her dominant tusk. She seems to use it more often, despite the fact that it's completely upside down. And Vedette in Indiana, you're saying, could the backwards facing Fang on the mother hurt a baby? No, absolutely not. These females have such incredible spatial awareness. They are so aware of what's going on around them and to the other females that I really... No, is that it? Oh, it's there. There it is behind the mother. Is that it? Could it be? Oh my goodness. Look, it's still fuzzy. It is. Oh goodness, look at its wobbly legs. Oh, I don't believe it. I can't believe we've actually seen it. Hi, baby. Welcome to the world. Oh my word. Oopsie, it's okay. Hello, Mommy. It's alright. It's okay, Mom. It's alright, Mom. You've got Fang there. It's okay. It's okay. Promise I'm not a danger. Oh my goodness. Oh, careful, careful, careful. Oh no. Oh, it's okay, little one. Okay. Alright. Hello, Mommy. You're okay. You're okay. Okay, Gendre, it's very, very important that we keep our movements nice and slow, no loud noises. And we must just sit. Hello, Mum. Now do you see? You see the bonds. Listen to her talking to Fang. Look at Fang gentling it, checking to see it's okay. It could be her sister's daughter. Or even her daughter's daughter. Oh, gorgeous. I've got goosebumps. Actually, if I'm completely honest, I've got tears in my eyes. It's okay, this little baby's absolutely fine. They take tumbles, it's what happens out here. Little uncoordinated legs on a very tricky perch. Okay, guys, okay. You can see what I mean. Elephant's very on edge. Little baby stopping to drink. Mom has just given birth to this. This is unbelievable. Hi, guys. Oh, too gorgeous. This is where trust and our body language are so important as well. We need to communicate to her that we're not a threat at all. She's okay. Your baby's fine. Massive female. She's absolutely huge, so this will not be her first calf. And so this is so special. Now Liz, you say move over lions and leopard cubs, you found a new love. I couldn't agree more. I'm concentrating very hard here. Okay. Xongile, very slow movements, alright, as she comes past. When she comes past. I think we've got the full trust of the herd. Look at Mom moving the sticks out of the way for her baby. Isn't that incredible? She's already seen it fall once. She doesn't want it to happen again. This is such a tricky spot for little one. Oh, and she's hungry. Fair enough. Oh, gorgeous. I can't believe how fluffy it is. This is absolute magic. We are so lucky. So lucky. Okay. Hello, big girl. It's okay. It's okay. Very slow, Xongile. Alright. Oh, Mom, you incredible creature. Look at what you've created. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's a little girl. It is a little girl. Look how she's reaching back, touching her baby. Oh, little one. Imagine how new and foreign and confusing this all is. And see how Fang's taking that role again. Next to it, protecting it. That little elephant's gonna get pushed, I think. Yeah. Pushed away. They're curious. Oh, hello. I've been so distracted I didn't realize I'd been snuck up on. Mom is now giving herself a comforting sand bath. Little one reaching up, touching her, learning its mother's smell, forming that bond that is going to be a lifelong one. Oh, look at his little shaky, wobbly legs. I'm just going to put my radio on in case I hear a vehicle coming, because I just want to be able to be in the position to warn them if they should start coming into this area, because it was where Karuda was. So I just want to make sure that if I hear a vehicle, we can just warn them not to come in, preferably not to come in at all. Rather just to wait. Oh, look at that. I know, Jen, you're absolutely right. The cow's back legs are still damp. This calf is just dried off. I mean, it is such a... Oh, hang on. I said it was a little girl. I think it's a little boy. This is such a tiny baby. This can only be, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours old. Look at it reaching out, touching Mom. Mom is hungry. She's got to replenish her energy. This is too magic. I mean, really, the fact that we are lucky enough to witness this is, and we have Brent to thank for it actually. He's put us in the right direction. I cannot believe we've started off our afternoon like this. I'm going to have a smile on my face all week. Incredible. The end of 22 months of investment from this mother. She's carried that little thing for 22 months, nearly 2 years. And she's got her whole family around to support her. Hasn't quite even learnt which side the milk bar is on. And she's going to try and direct it ever so slightly. We are so lucky that she trusts us like this. Okay, whoopsie. Little wobble. That's okay, little one. Wobbles happen. Gonna have lots more of them in your life. Bear in mind, this thing is only a few hours old. And it's just learned to walk. I'd prefer it if it didn't walk in our direction though, to be completely honest. Not that I'm not completely and utterly in love. Oh, little boy. Welcome to the world. This is so confusing for you. No, little one. Milk's on the other side. What on earth is going through this tiny creature's head? See what I mean about their incredible proprioception? They never hurt each other. Unless it's intentional, which of course is very seldom. She knows her little baby's there. Look at that size difference. Actually beyond words in this sighting. Really, I don't think that there's much that you can say about a situation like this. Just that we're unbelievably lucky. And you, buddy, I would suggest you stay quite far away.
Afternoon, Forbes.
Young bull is about to come past us. This is unbelievable. I mean, oh, look at it with its little wobbly legs. Elephants have always been one of my absolute favorites. And I have to say, the one thing I hope in all of this, I really hope my mom's watching. Because I know that she would love this moment. Gently guiding him. Now he's already fed. Obviously we saw him feed earlier, and I noticed that she has suckle marks around her nipples, on her left hand nipple as well, so he has fed a few times already now. Wait, Mummy. This new big world is very big and very scary. And there's all these giants around me. Reaching back, constantly checking on him. I keep picturing that fall over and over in my head, and the way that they rush towards that little one. Not just the mom, because you can understand mom, of course. That maternal instinct is so strong. But the way that all of them, all of the adult females, went running towards it. Protect it to make sure that it's okay. We might not have seen a live elephant birth, but we've come very, very close, and we've experienced one of the most magical moments. This is the youngest baby elephant I've ever seen. I'm very glad that we could share it with you. Oh, look at it exploring its world and that trunk. This just mysterious extension on its body. And slippery feet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oopsie daisy. Oh, look, luckily Mom's there. Oh! Hello, Mom. I'm here. So is Fang. It's okay. Hello, Fang. It's alright, girl. I promise. Not up to anything. And off goes one of the most extraordinary little creatures. Oh dear! Speed wobble! They've got a little bit overconfident there. And protected by the massive bulk of Fang behind them. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. It was so cool. I'm obviously not going to follow them. That, to me, makes total sense. I'm sure you'll all agree. I'm not going to go dashing off behind them. We're going to go leave that little one to do their thing. Leave Mom to do her thing. We've been unbelievably fortunate to have experienced that. Just sitting and waiting. And the fact that they did pop out. I thought they would, but I didn't dare hope. Unbelievable. Sure, I'm actually shaking. That was so incredible. Chandra, how incredible was that? Okay, now what? I'm done. I might go home, you know. Yeah. Have a little lie down, have maybe a cup of tea, and steady myself. After all of that. Okay. Well, bravo. Can you believe that it's Fang's herd? The one thing I do feel guilty about is the fact that Brent did find that placenta, but it was a truly team effort that we just experienced. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to recover myself slightly. In the meantime, I'm going to send you across to Brent and his buffalo.
Now we're looking for the incredible Nkuhumas, and look at that. That buffalo cow has the very distinct wound on her back. That comes from a lion being attached to you. You see they're moving through Now, apparently the lions were around here this morning. Let's try to see, get another view of that buffalo. Now, this is a little breeding herd, but that's probably originally part of a bigger breeding herd that's been split by the lions. It's a bit far. We'll try have a look. I think that could have maybe happened last night, even this morning, maybe. See where those buffalo are heading. They are quite skittish. Now this is apparently right here, according to Taxon, where there was a Birmingham and in Kahuma this morning. I'm following Taxon's tracks into where he had the sighting. Is it possible that these poor buffalo might stumble into an ambush? Let's have a look at that wound. See, they're nervous. They can probably pick up the scent of lions in the area. There you can see there's an oxpecker opening that up. Okay, so I'll probably look, there's quite a lot of dry blood there. Maybe last night, yesterday, that buffalo managed to escape from lions. Now, of course, oxpeckers feed on ticks, but they also feed on blood. So when certain animals have open wounds, they can be actually quite a pain, because they just keep opening up that wound. Okay, well, they're not looking too nervous at the moment, and according to Taxon, the tracks of the rest of the pride went deep into that river system off Gallagher. Oh, sorry, not Gallagher, off Gari cut line. Okay, bye bye, buffs. So this is where Taxon had an Nkuma lioness and a Birmingham. But apparently during the day one was seen drinking at the Gallagher Pan. So if we get no luck in this area, we'll head back there. Okay, so those buffalo have come through this area. The lions were apparently a little bit further to the north, so let's go have a look. Well, there was 2 lions here. The rest of the pride, the tracks were apparently further to the north. Now, they have been spending a lot of time in these river systems in this area, so fingers crossed they're still around. Now, I'm also looking for vultures and hoping to see some sitting in the tree. Now, on yesterday's sunset safari, and I think also this morning's sunrise safari, we were lucky enough to see another pride of lions called the Tsalala Pride. And Haley's wondering, are they not in danger from the Birmingham boys? No. Oh, yes, of course they're in danger from the Birmingham boys, but they're a little bit further to the west. And the Birmingham boys don't go into Arathusa that often, or very deep into Arathusa. So their territory is this, well, Djuma, mostly Djuma, through down to Hoffman's, and then east from there towards the Kruger boundary. I just want to ask Tax exactly where those tracks were. Tax. Tax, how far from the big jackalberry with those Nkonzo going into the Shkova? Close to that little leadwood, or further closer to the Buffelshoek boundary? Just trying to establish exactly where the Nkahumas might have gone down. Some more elephants. There's just Ellies everywhere. I'm very jealous that Jamie and VM got to see that little tiny newborn elephant. Oh, Xongile, sorry, not VM. And those guys are heading down into that little river system where we think the lions are hiding. I can't see any lion tracks just yet. I'm checking carefully in the shade here. They could be lying up on the edge. As soon as I find the tracks, I might find a place where I can go sort of peek over the edge, see if the lions are lounging in the shade and the nice cool sand at the bottom of the dry river. Lovely Cape glossy Starling with all the light on him this evening. Look at that beautiful bird. A yellow eye. One of the distinctive features. Now we have a few Starling species in this area, this being one of our more common species. Of course, the Birchall Starling also being relatively common. But when you see Cape glossies, one must always have a double check quickly, because there could be another glossy Starling species we get here, which is the greater blue-eared glossy Starling. But he's sort of more blue underneath, very green on top like that, with the Cape glossies sort of a bluey green. And what you really want to look at is around the ears. It has a much sort of darker. So if we have a look around that Starling's ears, off he turns, there we go. And we're looking for dark ear. See, now even me, who birds regularly, can get confused from time to time. This is indeed not a Cape glossy Starling. This is indeed the the greater blue-eared starling. And the reason I can tell that is if you look around his ear, it's dark around behind the eye, where the Cape glossy starling will lack that. So other than that, they are actually very difficult to tell apart. So I'll show you how difficult they are to tell apart. So there's the Cape glossy starling. And what we're specifically looking at is around the head. So you see, we could see that really dark patch below his eye. That is not there in the Cape glossy starling. Okay, Brian, I'm going to change the picture. There we go. And then there we go. We look. That was what was the giveaway there, and just that darker area below the eye and behind the eye. So there we go, greater blue-eared starling, and I'm sure that might even be a new species for a few of our birders out there. Now we're looking for the lesser spotted Nkoma Pride. Remember, we are live, and hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV if you would like to get hold of us and ask us any questions about what we're up to, what we're seeing, or any musings or wonderings about what's going on the live safari. Now we are looking for lions. Malik is wondering what's going on with the lion with the messed up face. Now Malik, what happens with lions, and specifically male lions, at some point of well, actually probably multiple periods during their life, they will have a messed up face. They are male lions, and they do. I've got no tracks, so I'm just going to head back the other way. And so, Malik, what happens is that they're always going to have wounds, scars, limps. They are constantly in battle with each other and possibly with other lions to hold a dominance over an area. So they will normally heal, and if they don't, they'll die, and that's part of nature. As harsh as everyone might think it will be, it's not our place to intervene. We are here to observe. Now, this brings me to another topic, but we'll get into that a little bit later because it's quite a long one. So it seems like Jamie has found some primates to show you.
I think the primates actually found me. I've been taking a moment or two to recollect myself after that incredibly special sighting, and we just happened to notice that we're being watched by a troop of monkeys. There's eyes everywhere in the African bush. Now that tells me something very important, since originally we were coming to this area to look for Karula and her two cubs, the female leopard and her two gorgeous 8-month-old bundles of joy. And what it tells me is that they are not here. The chances are that if a monkey troop were to see a group of leopards like that, and particularly a female leopard with cubs, they would be alarm calling, or they would have moved away from this area completely. Leopard is one of the few things, along with our cameraman, capable of keeping pace with a monkey bouncing from tree to tree. The only thing that is actually really a threat to them in terms of terrestrial predators. The only other thing, think about it carefully, would be a bird of prey that could be a threat to them. Look at this little one, looking at us full of curiosity. Okay, well, not looking at us with no curiosity. Looking at its world with curiosity. And having a jolly good scratch at the same time. There's incredibly nimble back feet. You can see how, what's the word I'm looking for? When something can grasp, they're almost hand-like, the feet, if you know what I mean. Very, very flexible. They do have that thumb, a big toe on the back foot that is capable of holding them on. Not fully opposable, but nevertheless much more flexible than our feet, and capable of gripping onto branches just like that. So that nimble leaps just like that are well within their capabilities. And as I said, the only terrestrial predator, perhaps a caracal might be able to, but a caracal is quite a cumbersome cat. They're not actually really good tree climbers because they've got very, very short tails. A caracal is a medium-sized cat, but a leopard, they can and do hunt monkeys. And as a result, monkeys are exceptionally vigilant when it comes to looking for our spotted favorites. Bouncing down again. The big male of this particular group is sitting in front of me, keeping a close eye on the proceedings. He's sitting, I can just see him, perched on the edge of the branch there, balanced up against it. Can you see him there, Jean-Andre? Or do I need to go forward a little bit? Oh, there he is. Massive male. Now, interestingly enough, speaking of males and females and so on, the primates, particularly the monkeys and the baboons that we get out here, are some of the few animals that distinguish between male and female, or at least react in different ways. So with the elephants, provided you, as we did, keep our voices very low, and just by the way, Ephraim just came past, I told him about the newborn and he said, "Oh, I'm not going there. New moms can be so angry." And he's right, which I think is what made the trust she showed us so special. But they don't distinguish between my voice and Brent's voice, provided we keep it at a very even pitch. But monkeys, on the other hand, absolutely distinguish between male and female. They are frightened of men, far more frightened of men than they are of women. Particularly the males of the troops. Baboons or monkeys, they respond very, very differently. Which is very frustrating when you're trying to chase monkeys away and they look at you with bland indifference. And then a man comes out and chases them away and they all run away straight away. Very frustrating. Aqua, you wanted to know if baboons would go after vervets? Very, very seldom. There's a truce between the two primates. You actually will see them foraging together. You don't generally. There's very rare recorded cases where, for example, a female baboon has gone after a baby monkey and kidnapped it, but that's highly, highly unusual behavior. For the most part, they're not creatures that are in competition with each other. I'm going to go forward a little bit to see if we can catch up with that male. They tolerate each other. They, of course, occupy basically the same habitats with slightly different ecological niches. The monkeys, of course, being the lighter of the two, are also very capable of moving out to the extremities of the trees and managing to keep themselves safe there. I've lost him. Where'd he go? Just saw him walk in here. No sign of him. Let's go back. I did see one monkey back in the leadwood tree, so let's go back there, see if it's still around. Andy, you wanted to know if I've ever seen a monkey fall out of a tree. I've never seen them fall out of a tree. I've seen them misjudge a jump and stumble and come tumbling backwards. Oh, there it is. I see where it is now. Sorry, John, I'm going to end up putting you at an awkward angle. He's there, looking at us that side. Here we go. Watching us closely. So I've seen them misjudge, miss a leap or a misstep, or perhaps a branch has broken underneath them that they thought was more stable than it turned out to be. So yes, I have seen that, but I've never seen one actually fully come out of a tree. I've seen them recover very, very quickly. And for the most part, it's most likely to be a baby monkey that will misjudge, just because they haven't quite got that coordination fully on pat just yet. Sometimes it's a little bit uncanny valley, sitting with primates. The expression that they adopt when they look at you. This is actually a really nice troop of monkeys. Usually the monkeys that we see are disappearing bottoms as they run away from us. And this is very pleasant to just sit and enjoy them for a while. Not an animal that we get to see all that often. Staring off into the distance. I can actually hear them having a little bit of a fight. Interesting sort of mixed family groups. There's usually one dominant male, But the females are actually the ones that really maintain discipline and hierarchy within a troop. Female monkeys often beat each other up. Now, of course, a monkey has to disperse once it reaches sexual maturity, or else it runs the risk of inbreeding, which is a conversation we've actually talked about a lot with our different animals, particularly our big cats, and the way that dispersal evolution has sort of resulted in males moving further and further afield from their natal range in order to prevent them from breeding with their mothers and their siblings. Our monkeys are the same, except that both males and females will move off and away from the troop itself. But it does take a new monkey a long time to be accepted by the rest of the troop. If it does introduce itself, usually sitting on the outskirts, it often gets beaten up quite severely, particularly by the females that tend to be quite close-knit and almost cliquey in the way that they approach things. They don't appreciate the arrival of a new female because, of course, a new female is competition for the male's attentions. But a lot of their social dynamics are actually play out in the smallest of gestures. Whenever we see them grooming, it's always fascinating, sifting through each other's fur, picking out ticks and parasites. There's often more to it than meets the eye. It's not just about removing external parasites. A lot of that can be currying favor with a more dominant individual. The same applies to baboons as well. I knew when I was a child somebody who had a pet vervet monkey, a pet baby vervet monkey, and that is absolutely not something that you want to do. So for those of you who are thinking of having monkeys as pets, please reconsider. They do not make good pets. They are naturally wild animals. They're not domesticated, and they're much happier in their natural environment. And what often happens is they get so confused by the lack of the wild and lack of their social dynamics. Their social dynamics are so critical to the way that they interact with their world. Now all of a sudden you've got this human beings are so much more complex. You've got people coming in and out of your house, all kinds of different things, males, females, men and women, partners, children. It's just not ideal for a wild animal. Right, speaking of wild animals, since our monkeys have all but disappeared, I'm going to go and search for Karula. I think it's going to be difficult. Gracie, I have to tell you a secret. While I was watching that baby elephant, I was really hoping that you were able to watch this afternoon. Really hoping. So it's put a huge smile on my face to hear that 9-year-old Gracie, who is one of her favorite animals, is an elephant, that her heart is bursting with love for that little baby. And Gracie, you don't have to thank me. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad that you could share it with us. Wasn't that special? No, really, I really genuinely had to take a few moments to collect myself after that. That whole situation, the fall, the elephant falling down, the mother gathering, the fact that at no point Mom showed us any aggression or defensiveness, the protectiveness of Fang and the way that she was looking after the mom and the baby, touching it, talking, they were talking to each other. That's awesome. Absolutely mind-boggling stuff. The fact that we're lucky enough to witness moments like that blows my mind. The fact that Graham Wallington's vision has translated into people around the globe being able to watch a baby elephant that's a couple of hours old, stumbling, legs shaking. That is truly mind-boggling, isn't it? Now, Gracie, I'm glad you're watching. I know that there were some big smiles in Final Control as well. Genre's still grinning. It was very special. Very special. Right, let's go find Karula and her babies now, before I start to wax lyrical. Speaking of waxing lyrical, let's head across to Brent and a bird that he's found.
Look at that, the absolutely gorgeous Mariko Sunbird. Oh, look at that shimmering green as he turns. You can, if you look carefully, there's a little purple band before the black of the belly. That is the Mariko Sunbird. Oh, it's itchy, yeah. can hear him calling, chip, chop, chip, chop, chop, gone. Now they are quite difficult to get on camera. They don't sit for very long. But there we go. At least that's one sunbird species for the sunset safari. Maybe we can find another one or two in our search for the Nkahuma pride. So I think I'm going to go look for that lioness that was seen at Gallagher. Maybe she just popped off from the rest of the pride for a drink. No sign of them in this river system here. Now, as I was saying, we're going to get into a bit of a debate now while we look for the Nkahumas. And I know a lot of people were quite upset about the hole in that male lion's face. Now, male lions have had holes in their faces for millennia. It is nothing unusual. It is very normal for lion behavior. They're always full of holes, scratches, bumps, bruises. Now, moving on with that, and I know we've all witnessed the Styx cubs sort of almost disappear. There's only 2 left at the moment, and there is the start, in our opinion, that some of the Nkahuma cubs are starting to show signs of mange. Now comes the conundrum: do we interfere? And unfortunately, the answer is something that I think a lot of you are not going to like, and the answer is no. Now, there's a lot of different reasons for that. Oh, we're back with our buffalo herd with the wounded female. Now, the same argument would be: do we interfere with this buffalo? She's got a wound. It's obviously bleeding. It's probably painful, but all of a sudden the buffalo doesn't quite tug at the heartstrings like a lion cub does. So it's a very difficult thing before where to interfere, where not to interfere. And 9 times out of 10, not interfering is always the right option. This is an open system. Animals can come and go, and they die and live, and we'll discuss a bit more about the mange. I was hoping that the lions might be following said buffalo. But let's go carry on. We'll sneak past the buffalo. Carry on with our talk. So there we go. Martin Wilson, we're on topic for what you're wondering about. Now, sorry. Okay, so as we wonder about, let's turn the radio off. This is a serious conversation we're having now. We'll look out for yellow bulldog spare cat. No, there are none. Okay, so as I said, a lot of people will want to interfere. Now, we always look, and it's very difficult, especially if you spend a lot of time in an area and a lot of time with animals, and specific animals like we do here. We obviously form a connection, or think we form a connection or a bond with these animals. I'm afraid the animals don't share that same bond back with us, specifically with the cats. And now, if we were to treat the Nkahuma cubs, or the Styx cubs, it's actually a very traumatic process, and you probably find just in the treatment you'll probably have a couple of cubs die. Now, it would be required to dart the cubs and the adults every day for 3 days, and have to bathe them, physically bathe them. Now, of course, forget the cost and the amount of man hours and labor, etc. Just think, you have to every day for 3 days. Now, when darting cubs of any kind, or young animals of any kind, and by no fault of the vets, I mean, when they dart, a little bit of wind might puncture a lung, because they need to use, those darts are actually quite serious. So on a cub, it's always very risky to use a dart, and so there's that whole side of it as well. But now, so let's say hypothetically we dart all the cubs, we wash them, then we've got to do follow-up treatments for 3 months after that, once a month. And then the cubs reach adulthood, but then in the next drought, mange comes again. what do we do now? Do we do it all over again? Because now as adults, those cubs are going to die. If we leave them alone, because mange is a very, very area-specific and time-specific thing, and it's probably come across because of the drought. Now, we have no control over the weather. It's not a human thing that has led to mange. Mange has definitely not been brought into this area by domestic livestock, as some people have said, but can't we pretend it's been brought here by domestic livestock? It hasn't. It's natural. It's been here for hundreds of thousands of years. And it is a way of nature controlling lion populations and predator populations, specifically after a drought. Now, you've noticed that after a drought, it's your impala, your wildebeest, your zebra and buffalo take a bit of a knock. But the predator population goes up. Now, mange comes out in a drought, so does anthrax and certain things. Now, those are little controlling agents that nature has set in place. So the lion populations don't get too big, etc. So you've got to remember that everything's interconnected, and we tend to micro-focus. And also, if we take lions, for example, in the Greater Kruger, now lions are under threat throughout Africa. Don't get me wrong. In the Greater Kruger, they're not. It's probably one of the most stable meta-populations in the world. Estimated 2,000 to 2,500 lions in the Greater Kruger. The loss of 16 cubs from 2 prides, on the big scheme of things, not that important. On our little micro scale of things, very important to us, of course. Now, going back to the cubs. So, they say with this type of mange, there's probably about a 20% survival rate in the cubs. So, only 20% of the cubs that get mange are likely to survive. However, those cubs that survive now carry on a very, very useful genetic bit of information. They are more resilient to anemia, which is the main reason that they die. They are more resilient to those mites. Now, if those cubs had been about a year old, probably 90% of them would survive the mange. It's only sort of under 6 months that the mange really makes an effect. The adults from the Styx Pride, the Birminghams, all of them are almost 99.9% certain to survive mange. It's only those young cubs that are probably going to expire if the mange gets too bad. Now, if we get more rain, that changes. The mange mites won't be as prolific, and the moist weather will help control them, bring them down. So, as again, we tend to micro-manage in our minds and we get invested in these animals and we want to help these animals. But we've got to stop that sometimes. You've got to take not one step back, you've got to take 100 steps back and look at it from the big picture of the whole ecosystem, not the tiny 5,000 or 6,000 acres that we drive around in an 8.5 million acre area. I know this could be difficult. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but and you're probably not going to like me for saying this, but I'm actually completely agree with the management's decisions and things like that, not to treat any of the lions that have picked up mange at the moment. Now, of course I'll be sad if the Nkuhuma's cubs get really bad mange and they get ill and they die, but one thing, I've been very lucky in the way I've been brought up, and I've been brought up in the bush, and death is part of life out here, and it's very easy for us to start anthropomorphizing and getting like very humanly involved in it, and it's difficult. It's always a difficult one. It's going to be a difficult one, but we just got to understand that there is nature. The whole argument again with that buffalo or the mites. No, why don't we just exterminate all the mites? But surely the mites have a right to live just as much as the lion cubs. That's something to think about, ponder on, while we search for the Nkuhumas. So no tracks coming out here. So there could be, I think that mating pair might be in the drainage line behind us. So I'm going to check up towards the Buffalo's Hook boundary. I'm going to go back towards Gallagher Pan where the tracks were, and I might take a little stroll, see if we can find them on foot. But so far, no tracks coming out here. And I mean, if if you want to discuss the Mange issue further, by all means, send through a question to the email address questions@WildEarthTV or hashtag Safari Live. And if there's anything specific you'd want to know, I'm very happy to help try explain it better. And if I didn't explain it better, also let me know and I'll try to do it again. Well, thanks very much, Aaron. Aaron in New Zealand says he agrees it is nature. Now, I think the biggest positive you must look at about if the cubs do get manges, the cubs that survive will pass on a far greater, not total immunity, but a hardiness. That genetic information, if they have cubs, will be much better chance if those cubs get mange that they'll survive, even if they do get it. So you must remember that nature works, and that's I think the most important thing. Nature works. It doesn't need us to fix it. It doesn't need us to interfere. It doesn't need us to be gardeners in Eden. It is Eden. It's perfect, and with mange and mites and death and blood and gore, that is perfect. That is nature. And talking about that, let's move on to a much happier subject. Jamie's got a little surprise for you.
And in happier news, we do indeed have a nice surprise for you. Something that Tax actually surprised us with by managing to find them. We weren't far off the mark, but we were a bit far off the mark in terms of where we were searching, so hold on. All will be revealed as soon as I manage to get the vehicle round. We did have it on the one side of the termite mound, and he's just gone onto the other. Let's go and catch up with him. Just check carefully. See now, I can still see him. I'm going to move, but I think he's about to pounce on his sister. I'm not entirely sure where his sister is. There you go. Look what Tax spotted for us. Haha. Looks like, I think that's Karula's little male, Hosana, and I think that Xongile, Tax tells me that Xongile is very close to this area as well. No idea where Karula is. She might already, despite the hard work that she's put in over the last few days, she might already be on a mission for the next meal. 2 growing cubs, lots and lots of empty stomachs to fill. Okay, let's try and reposition. We might have to wait this one out patiently for a little bit, and just manage with a slightly poor view for a while before they decide to come out and, never mind. Eat my words there, because the lovely lady